Well, good evening. My name is Neil Turner. I'm the board president. Welcome to the meeting of it's the 23rd, correct?
Yes.
8/23 meeting of Rochester School Board, and we're open. At this point in time, we're going to do roll call. Right?
Yep.
And Grant, are you here?
I'm here, thank you.
Thank you, Grant. And Juana?
Present.
Present. And I am present. Michael and Thomas both are excused. They will not be in attendance tonight. And with that, we should do our flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. At this point, we are going to have our budget hearing. On our agenda tonight?
Okay,
Yes.
that time of year again. So the 23-24 budget has been prepared and is ready for your review and approval. As you know, most of our revenues, a huge chunk of them, are driven off of our student FTE. So I skipped the page. I'll go back. So the highlight 23-24. So on the revenue side, we have continued support from ESSER 3 funding, which is just over 2 million. And this is the final year we have that money, and it's use it or lose it. So we have to spend it. So you see the writing on the wall that we're looking right there at a 2 million budget cut for next year. Increase to special education funding finally. It's a small amount, just under 550,000, but it's a step in the right direction. We will be able to collect the full amount of the approved levy for the first time in the 4-year levy cycle. And the transportation contract is underfunded by 739,000, but I put that on the revenue side because it's better than the 22-23 school year. Right now, the 22-23 school year, we're having to supplement just over 1 million. So we're closing that gap a little bit and moving in the right direction. On the expenditure side, our property and liability insurance increased 32.5%, which is just about $170,000. Staff received a 3.7% pay increase, and the food service contract increased 7.2%. However, that program remains to be self-sustaining. They bring in enough revenues to cover the cost.
And Jill, back with the expenditures.
Yes.
So the insurance at 32.5%, that's the increase of $169,000. That now means that insurance costs us just over $500,000.
Correct. In that increase in, that's not just us, we're part of a cooperative. So that was a blanket increase to all school districts that are part of that cooperative. So we are budgeting a slight increase, student FTE from what we budgeted last year at just over 2,000 FTE. So here is a summary of just the general fund. So beginning fund balance, which is a conservative projection. I really think it's going to be bigger than that, but I want to be realistic. Not much bigger than that, but slightly, of 890,000. Our revenues at 38,391 and our expenditures at 38,322. So it is a balanced budget. We are planning expenditures with revenues to cover all of those expenditures.
38 million.
38 million. Yeah, I'll know. It's been a long day.
It's been a long.
I've looked at numbers a lot. Yep. So this is a breakdown of our revenue sources. So the levy dollars will be 4.682 million. Local revenues, those are things we collect in the buildings, of 150,000. State money that's given to us for general purposes of 20,700,000. State specific of just under 8 million. Those are things like LAP or bilingual, or things that we can only spend it on certain things. Federal programs at 4.8 million, and payments from other school districts at 25,000. And those are, we serve a special education student from Oakville, so they repay us for that. And then when we have McKinney-Vento students, we split transportation. So that is all those words in a chart, if you're visual, the breakdown of all those revenue sources and how they make up the total pie. These are expenditures broken down by categories. So our certificated salaries are just under 15.5 million, classified salaries at 4.7 million, employee benefits at 8.2 million, supplies at 1.1 million, contract services, which includes our busing contract and our food service contract, at 8.6 million, CTE and grant funded travel at 138,000. So if you'll remember in budget reductions, we are going to cut out travel, but we are going to keep it for grants and other reasons, and capital outlay at 15,000 to make up that 38 million. And those same words in a pie chart, if you're interested in being a visual. And these are that same 38.2 million of expenditures, just broken out by different categories. So basic education of 18.5 million, federal special purpose of 1.9 million. That's the extra money. Special education at 6.1 million, vocational education at 1 million, Title I, Title II, LAP, high cap, etc. All those specific programs at 2.7 million. And support services at 7.8 million, and that support services is all district office, food service, transportation, the electricity, all those good things. So I wanted to point out our ESSER 3 funding and what we're paying for the 23-24 school year, knowing that that revenue source is going to be gone the next school year. We pay for our technology assistant, 4 middle school teachers, a special education instructional coach, a 4th grade teacher, 3 RHS teachers, our True North contract, which is a mental health support, health room assistants, school supplies for all, an RMS and an RHS student engagement coordinator, and a board certified behavior analyst.
Those will all go away after this year.
The money will go away. We will be able to prioritize, like if we have something that's currently funded by ESSER, but we think it is the most important thing in the world, we can look at something we're paying for with general fund and cut that and then backfill and pay for that thing with general fund money. So it's not necessarily those things on the list that are going to go away. We'll have to reprioritize everything in all our spending.
That gives you a good idea of what $2 million covers. You know, and I think another good example is that True North contract is our mental health counselors. And so that might be something that would be considered, you know, important that we would still want, and we'd have to move money around from our basic ed budget to be able to cover that.
Because didn't we already reduced
Yes.
$1 million?
Okay.
So as part of this budget presentation, I'm required to tell you that the state is going to give us 2.7 million for MSOCs, which is material, supplies, and operating costs. And we're going to spend all that plus some. So that was it for the general fund. So moving on to the transportation vehicle fund, we're buying a bus. It's on order, and I think it's going to be here in January. So expenditures of 161,000. For the transportation vehicle fund, which makes that ending fund balance really low, but that's normal and it's cyclical of when we need to buy a bus.
And how many years cycle is that?
It depends. It was much longer this time because the cost of buses cost a lot more than they did 10 years ago. So the bus we have in the fleet is, I believe, 12 years old.
We have to sell that one.
Yep, we'll surplus it and sell. Yep.
So
And that money will go back into this fund. Yep.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Capital projects fund, we've been utilizing that a lot this year. Our beginning fund balance is projected to be at just over 3.4 million. Our revenues at 85,000, and the current revenue streams will be impact aid money and interest earnings, and expenditures of 375,000. So right now, that $375,000, we don't really know everything we'll need, but we need capacity in case we have a crisis and need to do something. So the miscellaneous building replacements and the water system that we've all heard about, just having that there in case it's needed. Right now, we don't plan on spending that $75,000, but it's there just in case.
We need to be ready.
Yes.
The last conversation we had with the maintenance department about the
Yep.
age of the equipment. And
Yep.
place that we need, so.
The debt service fund, beginning fund balance, that revenue source is interest earnings only. Expenditures, it appears I forgot to type 0, but that's 0. We're not asking for any capacity in the debt service fund. The ASB fund, the beginning fund balance of 447,000, revenues 309,000, expenditures just under 300 for an ending fund balance of 458. And this is what I love to spend my time on, is pretending I have a magic ball for a 4-year financial forecast when we know that the legislature changes our funding every single year. So these are just guesses. Expenditures are probably gonna go up, revenues are maybe gonna go up, hopefully. So these are just a lot of assumptions.
Where do you buy your crystal ball at?
Yeah, OSPI.
I did have one question. Way back towards the beginning. Revenues, expenditures. Receiving money from the state. And it was, what was it? It was under the, special ed funding. That we did we received some funding from them and we were expecting more.
Yep, so we received special ed funding through a formula and they changed some of the factors to allow us to get a little more. So the formula gives us increased money. So it is $545,000 more than we would have got this year using the same population.
Yeah, so I remember we went up there and we went up and spoke with the
Yeah.
legislature and our hot topics this year about going there was transportation and special ed. And we did not receive any sort of increments for transportation.
Yep.
I go back all about it some more.
And we will be a perfect poster child as to why.
I'm hoping so.
No, we wish.
We wish we were not the poster child.
Well, okay,
But it is gonna give us.
but you know,
Yes, we are
we
gonna
have to show the situations as they occur to our legislators know where we're at and why things are the way they are.
Yep.
You know, I consider us to be a small, mid-sized district compared to some of the larger ones in the state. And I'm glad I don't have their budget issues this year. So, thank you very much. Grant, do you have any questions?
No, none here. Thank you.
Okay, so do I make a motion for public comment or do we just?
We just ask if there's any comment.
Okay, is there any public comment on the budget at this time? Is there anyone online?
Just one school administrator.
Okay,
So I've asked the question. So far, I've got. It's crickets.
okay, so then we move on.
Yep, thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much. There, here. Right, and then at this point in time, we need to do public comment for items that are on the agenda.
Correct.
Okay, at this time, we're taking public comments for items that are not on our agenda tonight.
That are on the agenda.
Oh, that ones that are on the agenda. Apologies.
There are none.
All right, none.
No.
All right, and then at this point in time, then we'll move down to the consent agenda. We have number 5, the consent agenda. Anyone like to make a motion to approve our consent agenda? What's that?
Okay.
One is moved. I will second. Grant seconds. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is passed. Oh,
No,
any
that's right.
opposed? All right, so at that point in time, we now move on to new business. On money donations for per student.
Yes, so First Student has made a donation of $5,000, so that's our transportation company that we contract with. And they've made a donation for $5,000 that will go to assisting students who were not able to pay their lunch debt.
Wonderful. Great. Okay. And then make any sort of motion on that, or we have to fill out a card?
We need to approve that.
Okay,
Motion?
all right. Can I get a motion to approve the money donation from First Student?
So moved.
All right, Grant first it and Lana seconds it. And then all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, all opposed? All right, it is passed. Next, RSD monetary donation, West Thurston Firefighter Association.
Yes, so this is West Thurston Fire Association. We do have some representatives here tonight that we want to acknowledge and invite up here to thank personally. But I believe it's the union, is that correct? Or is it the West Thurston Fire?
It's the association.
The association, okay.
And I also have a second one from the Thurston County Firefighters Union.
Oh, okay, all right. So the association, West Thurston Firefighters Association has given $1,000 for to assist with the student lunch day. So, and then we will be more than happy to accept the other one as well, but we got to work on that. This one is for approval today, and then we can do the next one next time.
So the next one's not for approval tonight. All right.
Yes, but we will take pictures.
Pictures are a wonderful thing. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, at this time, can I get a motion to approve the monetary donation from West Thurston Fire Association? Want to first it?
So moved. I'll second.
All right, and Grant second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passed.
Let's take a moment and thank them and
All right,
take a picture.
take a picture. We can take pictures.
Yes, let's take a
Wonderful.
picture real quick.
Okay.
Come on up. Let's what?
I got the fancy.
Oh.
Got it.
All right.
Got to Google.
Come over here and we can do it right here. I know, I was gonna say.
So we gave you guys a check back in June.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I don't know what, that's already been approved. I think that was already,
No, this,
No,
Nope,
the
this
one.
is it. Okay.
But here's the one.
this is a different one.
All right. So this is, so we've got two now.
This is the one for Thurston County Professional Partner,
Thank you so much.
local 325.
Really appreciate that. Thank you. And we will formally accept this at a board meeting in September.
Okay.
But we will, yes, in fact, why don't you hand this to Neil, our board president, and we can get a picture of that while we're all.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Really appreciate it. And the kids appreciate it.
Anytime we can help, you bet.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I can meet you right away.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Awesome.
And he is.
You all take.
Let's take somebody to eat. Okay. I wonder. All right, and so the other donation is for how much? Again, 1,000?
1,000. Yeah.
Cool, well, that'll be the next. Wonderful, thank you guys. Enjoy this too. But I know he's doing the best he can in his situation, so. Awesome. Cool.
Thank you again.
Right. All right, Grant, we're here for the picture.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, at this time, we are on to number C, which is 2023-24 budget adoption resolution. So at this time, this is our resolution for the budget that Jill just presented us with.
Correct.
And at this point in time, it's up for us to vote on this, correct?
Yes,
All right, so can I get a motion to approve our 2023-24 budget? 22-23 budget,
it's the 23-24. yes.
23-24 budget.
So moved.
Brad first,
I'll second.
Lana seconds. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It passes. Right. Okay. At this point in time, we go to teachers out of enforcement resolution.
Correct. This is a resolution that we have to do every year
Oh,
for teachers who who we need to help teach courses that they aren't directly endorsed to teach. We make sure that they have the training needed to do so and support. If there's any support they need, resources, we make sure they have that, but we do need to ask you to pass this resolution so we can put them on the schedule.
So we have 6 total. Or out of area of expertise.
Correct.
Oh. Oh. All right, so at this point in time, I guess I need to make a motion. Can I get a motion to approve, the resolution here on, out of endorsement resolution? Teachers out of endorsement. Wanna first?
You'll move that?
Okay.
Second.
Grant seconds. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, all right, any opposed? None, motion passes. Ooh, vehicle, number E, CTE.
Yes, this is the truck that will replace the truck that had been stolen in Tacoma in June. No, yes, June, I guess, was it?
April.
April, all right. Time flies. But this is the truck that was stolen in April, the CTE truck. We received $24,000 from insurance for the truck, but it was considered total. So we do need to replace the truck. We're looking for a vehicle that would cost $30,000 or less, that would replace that vehicle.
What kind of vehicle is it that they're specifically looking for? They're looking for a van?
We're looking for a 3/4 ton or better, 6-pack crew cab,
Okay,
so
hopefully we can find something in that budget.
we will.
We will, I bet we will.
Justin makes miracles.
All right, so we just have to approve the amount of funding to go for this, correct?
Approved $30,000.
All right.
Up
Well,
to 30.
Can I get a motion to approve the search for our new school vehicle, CTE?
Move to approve.
Grant moves. I will second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Oh. Motion passes. All right. At this point in time, we're going to move on to reports. Grant, would you like to be excused at this time?
Yes, I would. Thank you. I appreciate all your flexibility. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you. Right. Now we're on to our reports, annual staff wellness report.
Yep, and Maggie is gonna come up and give us an update on what was done with our staff wellness committee last year and the work that was done by them.
Yes. So, the legislature does require, us to report to the board every year on staff wellness. So there is a resolution, that passed from the legislature 2 years ago. Yeah, you can, it's like, thank you, board policy 5515. Does, talk about, workforce secondary trauma and does require us to report annually to the board on the activities that our committee engaged in regards to workforce well-being. So just to kind of give you a summary of what we did last year, the committee really focused on the larger district-wide event was what we called the hydration challenge, which was a water challenge we ran in November, which is really just to encourage our staff to drink a lot of water because that has been proved to raise social emotional, raise physical health, all of those great things. And then we did have school specific activities. They range from school get-togethers outside of hours to a lip sync battles to craft nights in a way of really just promoting community and a sense of belonging for our staff members. So as we move into this year, we're going to continue with some school site specific wellness activities. Looking at smart health, I think the consensus last year was that this year we would focus on some type of a kindness challenge. So last year we did this big hydration challenge. So this year doing something about kindness and treating people with the civility and respect, obviously makes you feel good. So that's what we're considering working on this year. Any questions?
Who won the lip sync battle?
I don't know who won it this year. Yes, the primary school runs that. They really rock out.
He said it wasn't him.
Yes.
That's something I know is like, well, that should be entertaining.
It has been quite entertaining. I went 2 years prior and they had wigs and it was a big deal. So yeah.
Wonderful.
So yeah, that was a primary school one. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right. Next, we have business reports.
I wasn't prepared.
So at the end of July, the fiscal year was 92% of the year complete. Our revenues are at 87 and our expenditures at 92. And that's normal for our revenues to look like that because it's the federal revenues that are low and we have to spend the money then ask for the money back. So they're always a month delayed. The end of July, the fund balance was 697,257. We do expect that to go up in April. The state gives us the most money out of the state pot in July and August because it's their new fiscal year. So they have lots of money to give. So they hold off on money and give it to us at the end. And I had technical difficulties with the other report I normally prepare, but I could write down that the capital projects fund is at 3.4 million, debt service fund at 736,000, ASB at 506,000, and the transportation vehicle at 152,000.
I have no questions at this time. Everyone, good? Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome.
At this point in time, we're going to introduce a new high school principal.
Yes, so I would like to invite Kevin Fionis up to the front. We're gonna officially welcome, this was meant to happen many months ago now, because Kevin has been on board and has been working now since, goodness, July, yes, definitely July, but we had meetings in June. But he's jumped in, and just been, everywhere, doing all kinds of things now. He's just spent the last 2 days with staff, training staff.
You guys shake hands again?
You betcha. Yes, there we go. We need a picture of this. So Maggie, can you grab a picture?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm glad we got to meet at that. Come on over, Juana.
Fionis, Theonnes. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Oh.
That'd be good. Just a little bit about Kevin. He came from Aberdeen, so we were lucky to steal him away from Aberdeen. He used to be the assistant principal over there, and prior to that, he was in Alaska. I think prior to that, he might have been from the Northwest.
I grew up in Redmond,
Okay, yes. But you spent how many years in Alaska?
33.
Wow. Great. Anything you'd like to share with the board real quickly?
Just that it's an honor and privilege, to be able to work here in Rochester. After 2 days with our staff, they're simply amazing. I really have high hopes for what we could do as a school. Our students deserve that, our community deserves that. And my hope is that we can continue to build capacity and do great things. I know we're facing budgetary constraints, but I have strong faith in what we're doing as a team, that we can make the most of what we have. And we're greater than the sum of our parts, and we're gonna continue to do that work. And anytime you'd like to come by the school, we'd love to have you, and I'll walk you around and you can see all the amazing things that are happening, whether it's inside or outside. It's a true honor to be employed with Rochester School District, and my wife's already trying to become a one-person PTO at the high school. And she's been posted on Facebook trying to get people to join her and kind of start building community support towards our schools, because they're such a treasured resource, and we believe a lot in education, and we want to support it as best we can.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Kevin.
Thank you.
And I know you have a little bit of a ride home, so go ahead and
All right,
take off as you need to. Thanks for being here.
thank you.
And at this time, we have the superintendent's report.
Yep, so just an update on what's going on in the district. First of all, we had quite a lot of students engaged in learning over the summer. Thanks to Maggie and Carrie and a few other people, but really Maggie and Carrie and some of our other coaches who really made this event happen. But they had what was called the iReady Summer Splash, and students were invited to engage in lessons on iReady over the summer. We had 230 students who engaged and did at least one lesson, which, you know, that's great, good way to get started. We had 180 who did 6 lessons or more, so that would have been, well, just shy of, well, no, that would have been one a week. We had 139 who did 10 lessons, and then we had 65 who did 30 lessons or more. And yep, it was really great to see them as engaged in their learning as they were. Those 65 students were invited to a Summer Splash event, and you can see the pictures are from the Summer Splash event. They had, it was amazing what they were doing. It was a perfect day for it. The sun was out. It was a little warm, but it was really perfect.
Perfect day for dunk tank.
Yeah, they had a dunk tank, which how often do you get to do a dunk tank where you're, you know, dunking your principal and the teachers and everybody? So the kids love that. They had all kinds of projects inside the GMES Commons where the kids spent a lot of time. They had snacks for the kids. They had things going on outside. It was a really good day. What we're really excited about is, I mean, this was great. The kids were engaged in learning, but we were also excited to see if it impacted their achievement. And so when we look at the fall iReady scores, we're going to be looking at these students specifically to see if it made a difference. Obviously, if it did, we're going to try and do this at an even larger scale next year. I'm sure it has made an impact. So the iReady lessons are really high quality, and I'm sure it's assisted those kids. So Maggie, thank you for all you did to make that happen. Then today we had Ruth, who were out with many of different community agencies, but providing school supplies for our students. Now, we do give all of our students the needed supplies, but these are supplies for kids to have at home and, you know, to be able to use and to be able to go in and pick out their own colors, whatever they want. They had backpacks for all the kids, and we don't provide backpacks, but they had very, very nice backpacks. In my pictures, I went out probably at about 12:30. It started at 10 o'clock, and there was 120 people in line at 10 o'clock. So I missed the big rush. But there were lots of kids, lots of families that were there engaging in that. So it's just so wonderful to see our community taking care of our families like that. And then the pictures on the right-hand side are from Kindergarten Roundup. That was on Monday. And that's all of our kindergartners come in, and the kids don't necessarily know it, but they're being assessed so that we can distribute students into the kindergarten classes based on ability to some degree, so that we have an equal representation. We don't end up with some classes that have a lot of need and others who don't, or a lot of, you know, some classes where just some imbalances in different ways. So there were 109 of the 139 students that are registered showed up for Kindergarten Roundup. And that includes our dual language students who are starting this. Next. Next, we also had our instructional staff return this week and next week. So our teachers returned Monday with our instructional leaders. They spent the day with us on Monday, working on how to facilitate strong PLCs. Had a lot of conversation about their belief and our mission of believing that all students can be successful, and what does that mean? Talked a lot about essential standards, common assessments. Those were the big areas. Then all of the rest of the teachers joined our IDLs on Tuesday, and they were with us on Tuesday and Wednesday. They partook in literacy instruction and UDL, instruction, equity, and social emotional learning was areas that they're learning. All 104 K-8 teachers. We had them in the morning over at the middle school, all learning about literacy. And then we had the high school teachers together in the afternoon learning about literacy. So that was the common piece. And then the other parts of the day, each of the buildings put together an agenda and a focus area for their learning of the teachers in their buildings. I was over at the high school today and I saw great instruction on universal design for learning, and it was being blended with literacy instruction, which was really nice. And then we have all staff coming in on Monday, the 28th for the all staff breakfast. And that's our big kickoff to the year. I sent a message out earlier, but if anybody wants to join us and scoop out breakfast for our staff, would love to have you. This is the administrators, and they spent 2 days at an ad council in August. And we got together and we also worked on literacy and what does literacy instruction look like in our classrooms. We also talked a lot about how we're going to support teachers in their learning and their growth. So part of that conversation was about the observation time that was spent in the classrooms, and then how we spent time working on calibrating our interpretation of what instruction looks like, what's good instruction, where do we want to provide supports, that type of thing. We talked about safety and some of the new safety systems we're putting in place, universal design for learning, equity, and MTSS. So some similar things to what we're doing with teachers and everybody else, but the administrators spent 2 days. Then they spent 2 more days talking specifically about MTSS and PLCs and working with that. And then we had another day. The pictures up there are from some of our administrators. All of our administrators will be trained by the start of school, but we're moving away from right response when we have a student who needs might be needing some structure and some control. Maybe they're getting angry and they need some support. So right response has in the past taught us how we could put our hand on an arm and guide a student. Ukero, did I say it right? That's impressive because I don't. The Ukero training is a training where you can see there's pads, and the pads are being purchased or have been purchased for all the schools. And instead of putting our hands on kids, we will be using pads to help maneuver the student, kind of get them where they need to be, let them kind of do what they need to do, but not put hands on them. No, there's no, restraining them at all. It's all about kind of finding a way to keep them safe and allow whoever's working with them to stay safe and, work through things rather than use any hands-on type of methods. You can see up in the top left-hand corner, those are actually our 2 teachers who are our coaches, and they went and were trained, and they're coming back and providing this wonderful training. And that's Jessica, our behavior certified specialist. Yes, there we go. And she was just officially certified in that. And then Nicole, who's our special ed coach, but they are learning how, we have a student who's banging his head on the wall. What do? Well, you slide a mat in between the wall and the student's head so the student doesn't hurt himself, but we're not going to stop that behavior right away. We have to work with them through that to get them to stop. So teachers are being trained in this, EAs are going to be trained in this. We actually will have our administrators and a lot of EAs are gonna need this trained, and then we're working to get the teachers trained as well, but we'll start the school year with the administrators and some teachers and then some EAs trained. Yeah, I'll go real quickly, go back one, no, go back to the teachers. So just want to note that this literacy training, that's the letters training. And Joey Easley has been doing our letters training for us. She's one of our employees. And she was trained in letters. You approved maybe last year for her to be get the letters training as a facilitator. And oh my gosh, she's knocking it out of the park with the facilities training. We could have paid lots of money to bring somebody in to do this training, and we didn't have to because we had Joey, and she is really doing a great job. So, and again, that's Maggie making sure that that resource was there, which was great.
Like the mom.
All right, then we have a new video entry and classroom intercom system, and I'm gonna let Justin take over and talk about these two.
It did.
Yeah, it
Finally.
Sure. No. Feel like a worn out contractor. So what I will show, I actually have a quick video around. I'm going to show you a quick video on the video entry system, and then I'm going to speak to the classroom intercom, because I did record a video, but you're not going to get to see that one. That one's only going to go to the teachers and not out to the whole world. But here, I will tell you, the budget I was given to develop this film was zero. You will see in a second, I used some really high-end quality actors and a nice voiceover. There we go. There's your 90-second video on how the video system works.
We might just be putting
That's
that
right.
up.
I was
anyway.
Yeah, I did make sure my wife did not use her driver's license on that. Just in case we needed to use it more often. I did tell her it would only be on the board, but reminder, we recorded on film. So, yeah, so.
Very copyright.
Yeah, I may have to get a rights thing, but that is basically the system, and you heard the doorbell in there. That's what happens when anybody's gonna ring that. So that will happen after once the doors lock in the morning. The entire time kiddos are there. Once school lets out, then the doors will be unlocked again. And so parents won't have to do that necessarily after school gets out. And there is a phone at each secretary's desk. The secretaries, if one is busy and they've answered that phone, they can actually transfer like, I need to take that phone call, I'm gonna transfer this over to you. They can actually transfer that video phone over to the other video phone to pick up their regular phone and answer that phone, while the other secretary then takes the call, and allows the person to come in. They can also call out to that. So if they think there's something going on out there, they can, from their system, they can dial up and open up that camera, and they can look what's going on just outside the door. So, or if they know someone's banging on the door, right, on the outside, they can say, over here, look to your left. And, cause all the cameras are to the left of the doors. So, and, they can get somebody's attention if they just aren't reading signs.
Okay.
So.
Are there any other cameras besides just that one that's right there, like something that shows a bigger view of the entryways? Like if somebody's sitting off to the side?
Not that the secretary is gonna have access to. So that, I will tell you, that's a pretty wide angle. If you step up to there, you can be 15 feet outside. That camera is very, yes, it is a really extremely wide angle. And I think the big thing is if there's multiple people standing there at the door, there is that thing where you can say, and you know what, I can let all three of you in. If all three of you get your IDs ready and I can just buzz you all in at once. If not, I'll buzz you in one at a time. And so, they'll work through those things. It's gonna be a little bit of a change and shift to it, but the systems will work. So secretaries, I start training. Most of them already know how to somewhat use those because they're really simple. And we also kept this system simple. So that doorbell, that camera goes directly to that phone. Direct wire, so it's not going out in the network and every place else. Because I need that system separate. If something else happens to the network, I need that system to just be still work. Yeah. So
Does this also work with the portables? The portables have access, teachers, or is this just?
no, remember, we're all fenced off, we're all locked off. So once school starts,
Okay.
this is where we're pushing everybody is to those front doors.
All check-ins.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yep, all check-ins. That's where all of that is going. So.
We'll find out soon enough how the parents deal with it. Hopefully they will appreciate what the efforts we're trying to do to protect their kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's
Yeah, they
like,
will.
Yep.
yeah.
And then you mentioned there's gonna be signage. Would there be it's Spanish as well?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, and we thought about that, and I'm glad you said that though, because we just were working on ordering them and I didn't order them, so thank you.
Says the one that never reads signage.
I know the sign had been made.
Yes, it had, yeah,
So.
but we weren't ordering them in that
Okay.
in Spanish, so thank you.
So we were waiting on signage just to make sure, and it's gonna be, as you can see, it doesn't need to be any more than. Yeah,
Basic stuff.
yeah, just basic stuff. We still need to greet our customers when they come to the door, right? We still need to say, ask them, what is your business here in a nice way? So what can I help you with? You need to see it. Are you here to see a kiddo? Are you here to drop something off? What can I help you with? Right? So just that real nice stuff. Okay. The second part of this classroom intercom and paging system. So as part of the what I call the classroom amplification. So if you remember last spring, the grants, or last winter, actually, the grants came through to put sound systems in all of our classrooms across the entire district. And I told you the next step of that project would be to turn all of those sound systems into an intercom paging system as well. And so that has, they kind of finished up most of the classroom sound systems in June. They've been working in July and August to now add the intercom piece to that. And really that's a server, and then also taking our analog speakers that are in common areas like hallways and commons and integrating them into our new system. So every classroom teacher has a teacher microphone that they would wear around, and then they have a student microphone. Okay. And so the teacher microphones, the sound's going to come through the 4 speakers that are in the ceiling. So as they speak, and having an even decibel level across the entire classroom is really, really good. Because if you think about, when you're in class, if you sat in the front row, you were being yelled at all day. And if you sat in the back row, you're trying to pay attention, right? And so you have that really high decibel level in the back, that really low decibel level in the back, and in the back. And the only people that get the good decibel level for what our human hearing wants is the people in the middle, right? So now what this does is allows the teacher to speak in a normal voice and not strain their vocal cords, which actually keeps them healthier, okay? And now we have an even decibel level throughout the entire classroom, okay? So big deal there. Second thing is we have a student pass-around mic, okay? So students will be able to use a microphone, it's kind of almost like the talking stick, right? And to be able to pass around, teachers can walk that around so that students can hear within the classroom. The other thing is we start to have, we have some students that are hard of hearing. And I think we're creeping up to about 10 or 12 in our district across K-12. What this will also allows us to do is to plug in their they call them DMs, their personal modulators that typically teachers would have to wear around their neck and talk in so that it connects back with their hearing aid or their cochlear implant or whatever. We will be able to take their piece that would normally be worn around the neck, plug it into our system. Teacher just continues to wear the teacher microphone, and it will now connect to anybody who is hard of hearing within that class for that microphone. Also, if the students use the microphone, the kiddo will hear what they're saying as well. So we're increasing the access to all students. So that's why this was also done as part of an equity, a digital equity technology grant from the state of Washington is where we got the majority of the money for this project. So that's just the classroom side. The other side is the intercom system. So all of the classrooms are now outfitted with these call boxes as well. So when if I need to call, if I'm a secretary and I need to call into a classroom, I can actually use a touchscreen kiosk, or I can use my my desktop, and I can click on the room on the map that I want to call into. I can hit intercom into, and I can talk, and it will come over those 4 speakers that we've installed. The little dot right here is the microphone, so the teacher anywhere in the room can talk back without yelling at the office, can talk back. So it can be a 2-way communication. They don't have to go pick up the phone and move from where they are in their classroom. They can just answer questions over top. The other thing is, if the teacher needs to call the office real quick and they want to do it through the system, they can, or they can use the phone. We still have extension dialing as well. But we do have this nice red emergency button now. And so if that button gets pushed, it does sound an alarm. I was accidentally in a training yesterday at the high school, and I had, the contractors were still doing some testing, and my laptop went off because they set one of the notifications off, and it was like, ma, ma. I mean, it's loud. You're gonna know that there is an emergency in a classroom that needs to be dealt with. So it doesn't sound an alarm in those classrooms. It just sounds an alarm in the office.
Okay.
Up here on the amplifiers, if anybody hits that emergency button, there's gonna be 3 red lights that show up. Once someone in the office clicks acknowledge, meaning someone knows there's something in the office, the lights will go to red, yellow, and green, so that there is a silent nonverbal that the teacher knows someone in the office knows I have a problem. Okay, so that way they'll be able to go that way toward that classroom.
How do you know which classroom?
On the map, it pops up.
Oh, it pops up, okay.
Yep, it pops up on the map, and it'll tell us, because we have all the classrooms are mapped.
Okay.
The other thing is, on the teacher mic, there is a couple of secret buttons that if you hold down for 3 seconds, it does the exact same thing. So a teacher doesn't have to get to that emergency button. They can do a silent alarm just by holding a couple buttons on the mic for 3 seconds, and it will do the exact same thing. The other thing that this system will do is these amplifiers do a little bit of triangulation and tracking while this microphone is on. So if a teacher has that microphone on and say they're in a hallway and they do that on the map, it will show us where they are. Okay. So these are, this is a little more advanced and actually a lot going to be real nice, because I will tell you, these emergency buttons actually showed up as, and it died in the legislature, but it was a legislative bill to put a system like this in every single classroom. There was no funding in the ledge for it this year, but this is something that many states have already required their schools to do. So we will be at the front end already of this, along with, there's quite a few other schools around us that use these systems like this. WFOS Chehalis School District uses the same system. I was installing it, and Oakville is installing some of it in one of their schools as well. We'll already have the system in place as we move forward. So we'll be compliant day one of when that ends up being required. And I do think probably in the next 2 to 3 years, it is going to be required to have this type of emergency button in every classroom. So now we have to do training and work. There's, any new system, there's going to be some bugs. We'll work the bugs out.
School year.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Very, very
Wonderful.
good. Yeah, very good system set up there.
Everything I can imagine it to have been. So the security and the fences and all that good stuff. I think we've made good, yeah, really good progress, safety and security of these kids and I really want their parents to really know. They'll know as soon as they try to come to the school.
The gates to the back service road and the other service road are probably gonna be toward the end of September. Most of the parts are here, we're waiting on just a couple more things.
That's just at the high school.
But that's just at the high school. Everything else is good to go. But we're really, really close to having all of those pieces wrapped up. So.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
All right.
Justin.
Yep.
Thank you. At this point in time,
Oh, we got just a couple slides left.
we got,
Just a couple. I'll be fast. So first, I just thought it was important to note what's new this year. And I didn't put I did put our security updates there. I did. It's the second bullet. Dual language program starts this fall. So we've got two different sections of students who will be in the dual language program. The security updates are new. Our high school principal's new. We have 4 new teachers. So not the 18 that we had last year, 22. What do we have? 22. But 4 new teachers this year. 2 primary special education teachers who are coming to us with a lot of experience and just seem like they're going to be great additions. One's moved from Texas, the other from California. And they are, like I said, they're veteran teachers, 15 years plus, and they're coming with a lot of experience. And we have a new math teacher who is also coming. He's a retired military and he's got 4 years of teaching experience and he's teaching at the high school now and just seems to be a great addition to that team. And then we have a new specialist who actually, Michelle, has been working at the primary for the most part for the past couple of years and now is going to have a permanent position as a teacher, as a specialist doing art and music. We've got the focus on K-12 literacy. That's a new thing. A lot of our other work we're just continuing on, but the literacy focus is an addition. We have a new adoption in our ELA curriculum, which you approved in the spring. So 6 through 12, new curriculum, a new ELA curriculum. And then officially, we have now adopted our K-5 math. They've been using it, but it wasn't completely adopted and implemented. And this year it will be complete. You adopted in the spring and now it will be implemented in its entirety as we move forward. So that's this new year. Or new this year. A few things coming up. First of all, I thought you might like to know that there's a ribbon cutting for the roundabout. If you want to go, it's 1 o'clock on Friday.
you're gonna stop traffic. I think that's probably the dumbest
I
things I've heard. in a
think they're
long
doing
time.
it on one of the corners. I don't think they planned.
Ceremony.
Oh, there you go. And I think they're
Tractor
doing it on one of the
Supply.
corners. But it is a 1 o'clock Friday. There is the all staff breakfast is on the 28th. If you are interested in serving more, we're gonna serve breakfast from 7:45 or 7:15 until 8 o'clock. I'd love to have you come join us. Capital Facilities Advisory Task Force, probably their last meeting is on the 30th, and they're gonna be meeting here in the boardroom. On the 30th through September 1st, really most conferences will be on the 30th and the 31st. We have student success conferences. And then our first day of students is on the 5th. We have a work session on the 13th. And then I wanted to make sure you were aware that there is a public hearing for the Grand Mound. It's talking about the growth in all of Grand Mound. There's a both in-person or virtual option to attend this meeting, and it's at 3:30 on the 19th. And they're looking for public input on the plan that they have. So I just got that today and I just started looking at the plans and I've got questions. So I'll be there and ask and see if submit them even written or verbally, but it's interesting when you look at it. And then we have a board meeting on the 27th, and that's all I have.
7. Excellent.
Yeah, you can add 2 events.
Just because one I just found out about, but we do have 2 kind of welcome back family events.
But I didn't put that.
Yes. So Will Moss at the middle school does his Howdy Family Nights. It's from 5 to 7 on Thursday, September 7th. And so there's usually some good food, some good music. That's for our middle school students, and then our K-8, but anyone can come, any Rochester student can come to our back to school bash, which is on Friday, September 8th at Grand Mound in the commons, in the playground, every place. And that is from 5 to 7 p.m. Again, we'll have food, activities, tons of resources from the community will be there, and we will encourage them to just potentially walk over to the football game afterwards. So
And that, the back to school bash will be a well-attended event.
The middle one, what time is that?
Will said 5, let me look at that email again, because I just saw it. 5 to 7.
5 to 7, and then the one
Back to school bash is also 5 to 7.
5 to 7, okay, and that's the following day.
Yeah, so dinner 2 times in a row, 2 nights in a row.
Okay,
And dancing on Thursday.
and that one's at the,
At the middle school, it usually has it in the front parking area.
right,
Wonderful.
Right, I think
Staff breakfast, I'm liking it. Wonderful.
that's right. You can eat at staff breakfast and then.
You know, your grocery bill is gonna be fabulous.
I should mention that the staff breakfast is being not completely, but really provided to us by Sodexo, our food nutrition, the company we work with to do food nutrition. So we're paying a little bit, but nowhere near what we usually pay. They are the bulk of it.
They like the Sodexo.
Yeah, they do a nice job.
Conversations I've had with them at the WASD events and everywhere. They're wonderful people, wonderful people that work with us.
I should say both the How to Contemplate Back to School Bash is Title I funded. So it is grant funded with federal. funds. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, at this point in time, we are towards the end of our agenda for the night. Do we have any public comment at this time for items that were not on our agenda? Anything on?
Nobody's online.
Nobody's online. Wait 30 seconds?
I think, okay.
No?
Good tonight.
I just want to make sure I don't
I-
make somebody upset because
I
it's given them an
appreciate that.
opportunity. So with that, so we have no more public comments and we have finished our evening. At this point in time, I'm gonna get what's up. Meeting is over. We've adjourned.